idea for this narration came to me from a conversation I had with a little kid not too long ago about the Teen Titans cartoon. He asked me what I thought about it, and I told him that I'd seen it and I thought it was good, but the comics were way better in some circumstances. He knew nothing of the comics, so I had to explain some things for him. Later on, I thought about the conversation. This narration is for those who have seen the cartoon but don't know much about the comic that it's based on. For those who don't know much about the comic but have seen the cartoon, the comic itself is actually way different in attitude and character portrayal. The cartoon is fun and upbeat, while the comic can be harsh and violent at times. I'm going to talk about the characters in the series and how they relate to their comic versions. Let's start with Robin. In the cartoon, Robin's origin was not really mentioned. There was a cameo scene where he was reciting the oath in the Batcave in the episode Haunted. Later on, it was hinted at that Robin left Gotham to do his own crime-fighting career. Nightwing was also seen in the episode How Long Is Forever, which I thought was really cool. Also, Larry, who was basically a Robin from an alternate dimension, who was basically like Batmite. His real name is actually Robin's name spelled backwards, Dick Grayson, but he was called Larry because it was easier to pronounce, which is also sort of like how to get rid of Mr. Mxyzptlk. It's also impossible to really put Robin out in a cartoon because of so much history that the character has, but I think the Teen Titans version was really good. I like his greased hair and overall attitude. Titans, go! Next is Starfire, who in a way her origin and overall presentation was changed for the cartoon. Starfire's real name is Koriand'r, like the spice. Born as the second of 3 children in the Tamaran's ruling family, Koriand'r's sister, Commander, also known as Blackfire, was passed up for rule, with that honor being given to Koriand'r. Much like in the cartoon, in the comics, Starfire's powers are affected by her feelings. If she thinks of something that makes her angry, she can use star bolts. Thinks of something nice, she can fly. Both Starfire and Blackfire were captured by alien scientists who experimented on the both of them. In the comics, this was how they acquired the powers to fly and shoot star bolts. In the episode Betrothed, Starfire is summoned to Tamaran to be married. In the comics, Starfire was betrothed not once, but twice. Tamaran itself was destroyed twice due to various circumstances. Personally, I sort of like the cartoon version of Starfire more. She's not bogged down by the complex and to a degree confusing history that exists with the comic version of Starfire. Added to that, in the comics, Starfire was also tortured, beaten, and raped too. Her relationship with Robin is just like it as it was in the comics. The kissing scene in the episode Go, a whole lot of fans were disappointed when that kiss was not because they liked each other, but simply so Starfire could learn English. Actually, Dick Grayson and Koriand'r were meant to be married, but Raven interrupted it. Now I want those who are listening to know something. If you think Raven in the cartoon is dark, she's nothing when compared to her comic counterpart. Her actual name is Rachael Roth, but that was never mentioned in the series. Raven is the daughter of Trigon the Terrible, a powerful extra-dimensional being, and Arella, a woman who was lured by a satanic cult to try and bring Satan to Earth. Full of despair and nearly at the point of suicide, Arella was rescued by an extra-dimensional pacifistic cult and taken to the otherworldly dimension world known as Azrath. There she gave birth to Raven. The moment Raven was born, Trigon's evil influence was felt in Azrath. By the way, the chant that Raven always says, Azrath, Metreon, and Zinthos, this is what Azrath means. Metreon and Zinthos don't have any meaning. It just sounds good. The granddaughter of the original Azar herself raised Raven and trained her to keep her emotions in check, lest Trigon's evil side within her would be set free. At the age of 10, Arella once again cared for her daughter, as Azar passed away. Before Azar died, however, she gave Raven a pair of rings that she herself had always worn. The rings held Azar's essence. At the age of 13, Trigon came to claim his daughter, but in a reaction, Raven released her other self's essence, which drove Trigon away. But he made a claim that he would return for her. When Raven was 18, she left Azrath for Earth to find those who would help her against Trigon. Raven originally went to the Justice League, but was refused when Satana sensed evil within her. She would eventually go to the Titans. Trust would be something that Raven never finds easily, as when the others actually learn of the threat posed by Trigon, the Titans leave her due to issues of trust. Eventually, the Titans helped Raven defeat Trigon, and he was banished to a prison where Raven's mother was the guardian. Even though Trigon was banished, her father's evil heritage and dark nature began to affect Raven. This would become more visible as she came out of her shell and began to show more of her emotions. Because of this and other reasons, it became increasingly difficult for Raven to control her dark side. Eventually, Trigon's essence broke through and Raven fell under Trigon's control. One of these consequences was Azrath being destroyed. The Titans would actually fight Trigon and a possessed Raven. During this fight, the Titans fought mirror evil versions of themselves, much like in the episode The End. After an epic battle, Trigon was finally defeated. Raven was finally free to explore her emotions, and for a time she thought that she was in love with Robin, but she learned that there was different kinds of love. The idea of Robin and Raven being a couple is not exactly crazy. There have been some instances where they sort of flirt with each other, both in the cartoon and in the comic. Later on, an evil version of Raven emerged. Her evil essence survived and found a body to control. This Raven would do horrible things, even stop Robin and Starfire's wedding. The Titans were able to completely destroy the evil Raven, and good Raven's soul was released, and went on a journey to reassess her place in the world. Our next character is a fan favorite, Beastboy. First of all, he was originally known as Changeling, before he was called Beastboy. Beastboy is the only character in the cartoon to actually be called by his real name, Garfield, as mentioned when the Doom Patrol guest starred in the series. Beastboy's real name is Garfield Logan. Once upon a time, biologists Mark and Marie Logan took their child, Garfield, with them to Africa, where they were conducting research on genetic codes. Gar came down with a rare tropical disease that was believed only animals could survive. Desperate to save his son, Professor Logan treated Gar with an untested machine which he originally developed to isolate the common genetic bond shared between humans and animals. Gar recovered, but as a side effect his skin turned green. A few years later, his mother was threatened by a deadly snake, and the urge to protect her transformed Garfield into a mongoose. A few years after that, his parents would die on a boating accident, which Garfield still thinks he could have prevented. Gar tried to join both the Doom Patrol and the Teen Titans, but was refused. Eventually he would join the Doom Patrol and later on the Titans. He helped Raven fight against her evil father, Trigon. While a member of the Titans, Garfield would form a close relationship with another Titan, Cyborg. I would say that out of all the Titans, Cyborg is the one that we know the least about in the cartoon. Cyborg's real name is Victor Stone. Sound familiar? It's the same codename Cyborg used when he infiltrated the Hive in the episode Deception. Cyborg grew up around science and technology. The only son of Silius and Eleanor Stone, Victor was pressured to follow in their footsteps. His parents even experimented on him to increase his intelligence. Because of his parents' selfish motives, Cyborg never had a normal childhood. One day, Victor happened to be visiting his parents at Star Labs. They were working on two projects, a long-range interdimensional study and observation project, and the development of cybernetic body parts for physically disabled soldiers. While observing another dimension, Silius accidentally let a blob-like creature slither through the dimensional barrier. The entity killed Eleanor and critically wounded Victor before Silius could activate the recall button and send it back. Determined not to let his son meet the same fate his wife did, a desperate and unauthorized Silius used the untested cybernetic technology to rebuild Victor's body with a frame of enforced molybdenum steel, special polymers, and plastics. Vic survived, and Cyborg was born. Booyah! The last member of the Titans is, as Beastboy once said, one of the bravest people he ever knew, Terra. Her real name is Terra Markov, the illegitimate daughter of a European king. Terra was sent by her father to the United States to avoid a scandal back home. Her royal lineage gave her earth-moving powers. Terra clearly had mental issues, which was hinted at during the Aftershock episodes. Terra earned a living by using her powers for hire, if the price was right. It was through these jobs that she met Deathstroke, who would eventually ask her to infiltrate the Teen Titans and destroy them from the inside out. Beastboy had come across Terra and had asked her to join the Titans. Afterward, he would quickly begin to like her. The Titans accepted her as a member of the team except for Raven, who had her doubts, which was also mentioned in the cartoon. Terra fought a staged fight against Deathstroke, which cleared any doubts the Titans might have had about her, but Raven would still think that something was wrong. Once Terra was a member of the Teen Titans, she was given access to all kinds of information about the team and its members. Terra would eventually reveal her true nature, and during a battle she believed that Deathstroke would turn against her. She went insane and brought down the complex that they were all fighting in. Even after all she did, she was still buried with honors. Terra's betrayal was never made public, and the general population still believes Terra to be an honorary member of the Teen Titans. Terra had actually slept with Deathstroke as well, and never really liked any of the Titans except for Beastboy. The cartoon version of Terra I sort of like more than the comic version, because the comic version of Terra is way more adult than the cartoon image. Some of you might be thinking, Deathstroke? Who's that? Well, Deathstroke is actually Slade. His full title is Deathstroke the Terminator, an assassin who takes any contract given to him. Deathstroke's real name is Slade Wilson. In the cartoon, I really like Slade. He's the one villain who could always get away and who was smart enough to take on the entire Teen Titans single-handedly. Slade has a strong, determined, and incentive personality. As a teenager, he lied about his age to join the army. He quickly separated himself from his peers, as Slade had a strict moral code which he never broke. During Slade's military service, he met Captain Adeline Kane. Adeline was both frightened and attracted to Slade. The two would be attracted to each other and both fell in love with one another. Later on, Slade volunteered for a medical experiment in resisting true serums. It was later revealed that these experiments with the true serums were in reality an attempt by the government to covertly create metahumans through experimentation on human test subjects. The experiment left Slade weakened and bedridden for a time, but the experiment, unknown to anyone but Slade, had an unforeseen side effect. It gave Slade enhanced strength and heightened reflexes. Stay tuned for part 2 of my narration of the Teen Titans Comics the Cartoon comparison, where I will continue my discussion on Deathstroke, as well as talk about the other villains in the series, such as the Brotherhood of Evil, Brother Blood, Trigon, Blackfire, and Mad Mod, as well as discuss the allies of the Teen Titans, such as Speedy, Aqualad, Red Star, Kid Flash, Bumblebee, and Jinx, as well as thoughts on how the series ended, the animated comic book, and Red X.